Channel 2S is brought to you by New Type HQ. Get your kits and supplies at the link in the description below. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Channel 2S. I know it's been a very long time since you guys have seen me in pre-recorded video form. However, I have been still keeping fairly active these last couple of months. Recently, with it being tax season and all, I decided to splurge a little bit on some new streaming equipment, and I have been having a great time streaming for you guys. We did a whole week of G-Unit builds where I basically built through the Geminis, the Asclepius, and the Leo S. Had a great time doing it. And if you want to see the VODs for those streams, you can actually watch the uncut versions of my Patreon, and I will have a more condensed, edited down version coming to this channel shortly that'll be public for everyone to see. The live streams have been really fun to make, and I'm definitely going to be doing more of them in the future, so if you want to make sure you don't miss the next one, now is a great time to subscribe and turn on your notifications so you don't miss my next stream. Alright, so let's talk Gunpla news. Now, Shizuoka Hobby Show, the main official event, is still a few days away. However, there's a little bit of a prelude of information that Bandai is kind of teasing us with ahead of time. They're showing us a little bit of this, a little bit of that, kind of giving us an idea of what we'll be able to see in full at the event. And it seems like the big flagship of this event is going to be the Master Grade Extreme Strike Freedom, and we have got to talk about this kit because we've talked about it on Gunpla News before, but it just looks gorgeous. And the more we see of it, the more amazing it looks. So last we saw the Strike Freedom, all we were really being shown officially of it was pretty much just the inner frame. However, now Bandai has given us the official images. They've shown us what it comes with, they've shown us what it can do, and more importantly, they've finally given us a concrete release date and an MSRP. So initially, the first teaser trailer for this kit that I reacted to that Bandai took down, and I had to edit and re-upload because they didn't like me promoting their product using their official promotional material, said that this kit was going to be coming out sometime like I think it said like end of spring 2022 or late spring 2022, something like that, which obviously doesn't make a whole lot of sense looking back now because we're basically at the end of spring right now and there's no MGEX Strike Freedom out on store shelves. However, with this new batch of information, as you can see down here in the bottom right corner, the Strike Freedom has been confirmed to be coming out this November. So it is quite a ways away from now. However, I think that's a much more reasonable release schedule for them to aim for. They've also confirmed that this kit will be releasing for 14,000 yen. There was a lot of concern that this kit would be closer in price to the Master Grade Extreme Unicorn, which was a blistering 25,000 yen that almost nobody was willing to pay for that kit. It was a really nice Unicorn 2.0 that had a cool LED gimmick, but there was no universe in which that kit was worth 25,000. And I think Bandai really has learned from the mistakes that they made with the Unicorn, because not only is this kit just so much more visually impressive than the Unicorn was, there's much more external detail, there's more opening hatches, more gimmicks, more moving parts and mechanical features. They just really went much harder into making this kit look amazing. If you didn't know that the Master Grade Extreme Unicorn was some kind of special kit and you just saw it sitting in Unicorn mode on someone's shelf, you would literally have no idea. Aside from the LED gimmick, it pretty much looks like any other Master Grade. But the Strike Freedom goes above and beyond to make it immediately apparent that there's something special about this kit. And all of that for only 14,000 yen, which is a much more reasonable price for this kind of model. That's enough talking about the information though. Let's take a look at this gorgeous model itself. Now, I'm not going to play you the new extended promo trailer this time because I don't want this video to get nuked by Bandai again, but we are going to show you some of the official images on their website. In addition to the multiple shades of gold we've seen before, many of the red parts in this model will be a translucent red plastic that looks absolutely gorgeous with the gold behind it. If you're one of the more technically inclined builders out there, you could wire this thing up with LEDs and it would look absolutely stunning. One of the big things they're focusing on with this kit, besides the obvious gorgeous gold on the inner frame, is the mobility and the gimmicks. There are so many moving parts on this model, it is absolutely insane. There's all sorts of articulation gimmicks for pretty much every major joint in this body. The neck bends in 3 places instead of the usual 2. The torso's got some great movement. There's all sorts of parts you can move and adjust on the arms. There's some open hatch panels on the front skirt armor. There's more opening panels on the shoulders and on the legs, very reminiscent of the High New Gundam, but done to an even more extreme degree, as is appropriate for a Master Grade Extreme. And then we have more articulation gimmicks, such as Freedom 2.0 style rotate out hip joints. However, they go a step further than that and actually give you this really weird joint underneath the hip that allows the leg to swing side to side. And that's how you're going to be able to get this type of pose where the legs are kind of crossing over each other. There's an additional joint in the ankle that lets the foot swing side to side in a way that is functionally, I guess, kind of similar to something we've seen with models before. Like, ankle pivots aren't exactly like a new piece of technology for Bandai, but the way they're doing it here is really interesting, and it appears to allow the armor around the foot to slide around with it. Down here we have some more traditional official images of the model. Here you can see it from the front. Here it is from behind. Absolutely stellar kit. I almost can't even believe that this is a 1/100 scale model. This really does look like a perfect grade. Here you can see it, ready for battle. everything folded out, ready to go. This is more than likely the type of pose that I'm probably going to end up displaying mine in. This is an absolutely incredible looking way to display the kit. Here you can see some of those new articulation gimmicks in action. It's not often that we get kits that are able to do a really good kneeling pose, but it seems like the Strike Freedom is going to be able to pull it off just fine. And here we can see the full accessory loadout for the model, which is pretty darn impressive. Not only do we get the weapons that you would expect, like the beam sabers and the twin rifles, but you also get a pair of beam shield effects that have something going on with the material. It's hard to tell exactly how these are going to look based off the render, because everything we have been looking at so far has been CG renders and not an actual physical model, but I'm hoping that when we see an actual physical prototype of this model, we'll be able to get a feel for what these shields actually look like in person. So while we're wiping the drool off for our keyboards, how about we take a look at a slightly less impressive but still pretty cool new model. So this is the high grade 1144th, I believe they're called the 3rd MS team model kit set. This is a premium Bandai exclusive, and I wasn't even sure these were actually going to come out as models. I thought it was just like some magazine thing, but we're actually getting these as full-on high grades. And not only are we getting the full team, we're actually getting the full team all as one collected box set. So this is the first of the 3 units of this team. I'm being vague with the names just because I don't really know what these are called. I don't even really know what they're from. They just popped up in a magazine. Bandai said they're making models of them. I was definitely not that interested in picking these up when I first saw the initial magazine images because they look kind of boring and generic, but once I've seen these actual prototype images now, they look really cool. I love the new head design on this. It's one of those heads where if you showed it to me in isolation, I would never imagine it looking good on this body, and yet it actually manages to work really well. Each one of the 3 has a unique head sculpt and unique weapons, as well as a few variations on the main body itself. Actually, I take that back. It seems like the 2nd and 3rd units do use the exact same head. With that said though, they are all using the same GM ground type / Gundam ground type revive body, which was one of my favorite high grades back when this kit came out. I think it's a really good body mold to use for something like this. So while I wasn't very interested in the set before at all, I am now very interested in picking it up. However, all we've really seen of these so far is exactly what I've just showed you. We don't have any concrete information about them so far, except for the fact that they'll be coming out as a premium Bandai 3-pack. And when it comes to premium Bandai kits, the biggest question is always the price. Because as cool as these kits look, I'm not 100% sure I would pay premium Bandai prices for them. A couple more things you have to consider involving these kits is that they are all multicolored, and I don't just mean multicolored in the traditional Gunpla sense, but I mean multicolored as in there are parts on this model that are red on one side and then white on the other. And the only way Bandai's really able to do that for a model like this is to include duplicate copies of each runner, 1 copy in red and 1 copy in white. A lot of times this will end up driving up the cost of the kit because Bandai basically needs to include double the amount of plastic in the box for a single kit. And with 3 models in the box that are going to all have this type of color separation, there is going to be an insane amount of leftover parts here, and I'm hoping that doesn't end up driving up the price. This is the kind of thing that I wouldn't mind paying maybe $70, $75 for, but if they want $100 plus for the full set, I am not interested. So next we have the Real Grade God Gundam, which was originally supposed to come out next month, however it did get delayed till August, which was a little bit disappointing. We do have some images of it just kind of standing around at the event here, and it looks fine, but the most interesting thing of note here was that they fixed what was basically my only issue with the original model, which was the lack of a burning finger hand. Since they released those initial images of the model, they actually went back and added the correct hand for doing the burning finger attack. And now that they fixed what was basically my biggest issue with the model, I am really excited for this kit. Another thing that they showed off, or rather kind of teased a little bit, is that we are going to be getting a premium Bandai expansion set for the Real Grade God Gundam. You get some good old Street Fighter style Hadokens, You get a fire effect that goes around his arm when he's punching. And to clarify, the Funseki here is not a part of this expansion set. This was originally released with the high-grade Master Gundam. They're basically just showing off that he is able to ride it here. So the expansion set for the God Gundam is going to be 2,700 yen, which sounds like a lot for what they've shown off here. However, the important thing to remember is that Bandai actually clarified in the tweet where they posted this that this is not the full expansion set. So when the final 2,700 yen set comes out, you will be getting the accessories that you see here, the fireballs, the punch effect. You're going to be getting all of that, but there will be other elements included in the box as well. So then after that, we got an XDX reveal in the form of the Gundam Aerial, the lead Gundam from Witch from Mercury. Now I know I haven't talked about this in a formal episode of Gunpla News. I did talk about it quite a lot on the stream. I actually talked for about an hour or so about what I liked and didn't like about what we've seen from the show so far. Long story short, I think it's a pretty cool design, but I do want to see more of it before I make a more complicated judgment of it. With that said though, I am really not impressed by SDEX, like, at all. I know there's reasons that some people prefer them over cross silhouette, but I just can't get over them canceling cross silhouette in favor of this. They had something absolutely incredible going with the SD line for a while, and they threw it away for this. Now, to be completely fair to the Aerial, this is one of the better X standard kits we've seen. Looking at the model from the back, there's actually no open exposed hollow areas, which for general SD Gundams is kind of impressive. However, this is still going to be a very easy pass for me unless I end up really liking the show. In further Premium Bandai news, because of course it is everything's Premium Bandai, we have an Impulse Gundam variant from the same league as that Gundam Lindworm that we got a little while ago. I think we saw this in a magazine a while back too, but they're showing it off here in person at the event so you can get kind of a better look at it. I think it's fine. It's not something that I'd ever pick up. As far as build variants go, it's a very drab kit. Not only does it have the most boring color scheme imaginable, but there's really not anything exciting or interesting or unique going on with the new armor design. When this model eventually shows up on the Bandai web shop, it is going to be the easiest of passes for me. They also showed off another one of the F90 weapon packs, and this is actually a pretty exciting one because this is one of the few canon weapon packs that actually existed before this whole A to Z thing. The H pack was actually one of the original F90 equipment variants, and I believe they made a model for it back in the old 1/100 scale line. Even if you're not a completionist when it comes to the F90 weapon packs, this is one that's definitely worth picking up. Now switching up gears a little bit for some Gundam base exclusive news, we have a new exclusive item for the new Gundam 1/1 scale statue, and that is a nice little booster unit that you can use for your new Gundam models. This is a 1/144th booster for the high grade new Gundam and the entry grade new Gundam and the real grade new Gundam. Basically use any of those on this and they'll look pretty cool. The booster units on the back are also compatible with the existing base jabber model in the HGUC line, giving it an extra level of compatibility. Now would also be a good time to mention that there's a new Bandai Namco logo that you're going to be seeing in the upper right hand corner of not only every new kit coming out, but also every reprint that we see from this point onward. Similar to how they updated the packaging with the new blue Bandai logo after they made the company logo change, the Bandai Namco logo in the top right will be a part of all future Gunpla boxes going on forward, which can be kind of annoying if you're someone like me who likes to really soak in and appreciate the box art on their kits without a billion different logos slapped all over it. And finally, we have a oddball, kind of funny bit of Gunpla news, and that this is just kind of a weird crossover product, but it actually does feature some new Gunpla, and that's basically the only reason that I'm including it in Gunpla news. So Bandai is partnering with some bath bomb company in Japan, and yes, that this is a real merch partnership, and they're making two exclusive versions of the entry grade Strike Gundam that I guess come with bath bombs. That's the thing. Now one of these kits is going to be the ubiquitous Strike Gundam deactive mode that seems to always find its way into being some sort of limited item or exclusive. But the main draw of these kits, at least for me, is that you get a little bath bomb shaped capsule with your Strike Gundam that you can actually use to build one of the aquatic suits from Gundam Seed. Now these are very simple models that I don't think are even 1/144th scale, so they're certainly not something you can just seamlessly slide into your collection. But with how rare it is for these mobile suits to get literally any kind of attention at all when it comes to Gunpla, it's still pretty fun to see them included at all. For the Gundam Seed fans out there, this is definitely something worth importing, and you will have to import it because these are going to be exclusively released in Japan. The version of this set that includes the standard colored Strike Gundam will also include its iconic Grand Slam weapon as well. The Strike Gundam with Grand Slam does include the same two aquatic mobile suits, however they are in different colors this time. And until May 15th, when Shizuoka Hobby Show itself finally begins, that is all we have for Gunpla news. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it. If you are new, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss not only future videos, but also future live streams as well. I'm going to be trying to do more streams because I've had a lot of fun doing them so far, and it's an easier way for me to get more regular content out to you guys. If you want to support the channel directly while also getting cool perks like early access to videos and access to past live stream VODs, you can go ahead and pledge your support on Patreon down in the description below. It's totally optional, but I really appreciate it. Speaking of, thank you to my first and currently only Master Grade tier supporter, Yank. And as always guys, I'm Second Soundwave, and I'll see you next time. Take care guys.